Alpha man, what's up? What's going on, man? Let me see. I'm gonna get started here. Let me fix my settings here. What is going on? Okay. I haven't went live on the phone in I don't know how long. Uh all of this is new. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second here. Okay, I think I'm good. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Just like put a thumbs up in the chat if you can hear. You make sure it still troll you. Fuck the Raiders. Yeah. I mean, they doing a good job of that themselves. You can hear. Okay. Why are all these messages coming up as? Why are they all coming up as this? Oh well. Okay. All right. So, uh, I'm not gonna be long here. David Excel, what's up? Uh, okay. So I'm not gonna be long. The video I made last week was I was wrong. Obviously, I didn't know that the Chargers were this bad. I was still holding out hope, but hey, ultimately, it is what it is. Um, I knew that there was holes, but I didn't think that it was this bad. This is it's not quite to where the Staley era was, but it looked pretty damn close yesterday. Um, we weren't good at all. I mean, and thinking of it this season, all 7 games. What do the Chargers do well? That's what you can ask yourself. Outside of Justin Herbert, what do they do well? We know we got one of the best quarterbacks in the league. What do they do well? The Chargers do nothing well, and I think that's an issue. That's a problem, and it showed itself yesterday, but it's gonna continue to show itself as the season progresses. We don't do anything well. We're just not that good of a team, and like I said last time, I said this in I think a video that I did last week. I would be wrong to come on here and sell hopium and copium to everybody when I was on here beating the drum saying we need to get rid of Brandon Staley. Things are bad, blah blah blah, this and that. I would be wrong to come on here and just because I advocated for Harbaugh, I would be wrong to come on here and say everything is good, give him time and all this stuff. I'm keeping the same energy. This is not a Jim Harbaugh type of team. Injuries, are what they are. You got to bake injuries into your season. That's not an excuse. If the injuries were that bad, nobody would be winning with injuries. I tweeted, if you guys follow me on X, I tweeted it last night, right after the 49ers won. 20-10, they shut down one of the best running back, probably the best running back that's going right now. I mean, maybe 1A, 1B between him and Jonathan Taylor, but Robinson from the Falcons, the 49ers shut him down yesterday. They were missing Fred Warner. They're missing Nick Bosa. Both of those guys, are really, really great players. I know Fred Warner is probably going to be a Hall of Famer. Bosa, I don't know, maybe. But both of those guys are like Hall of Fame type talents. They're on the mend right now. They're on IR. The Niners, they went in, they took care of business without two of the best defensive players in all of the league. The Chargers, they really don't have any excuse. I see that's a big excuse on X right now. 6-string tackle, 7-string tackle. I seen a lot of people were kind of echoing what JJ Watt was saying on the broadcast. Who gives a shit? Who cares? You can still win. You can still win. Of course, you don't want those guys in there all season long, 17 games. Yes, of course, you don't want that. But it is what it is, right? Injuries are there. This is the NFL. It's not ballet. This is what happens. So who can win with injuries? Those are normally the teams that end up in the Super Bowl, right? Guys who are the teams who are able to overcome injuries, especially at key positions. If you're able to go out, sign some free agents, make some trades, if you're able to cover up the holes that you have, those are the teams that usually win. And those are the teams that I take serious. This Charger team right now should not be taken seriously because we seen what this offensive line was last year, especially in the playoff game. We seen how this offensive line cratered. For whatever reason, Harbaugh, Ortiz, they thought, hey, let's bring the same guys back. We can coach the shit out of them, essentially, right? You can't do that. You just can't do that. You have to go out, you have to get good players. Bradley Bozeman, starting center. They gave him $5 million in the offseason. We should not be taking, no team who's giving Bradley Bozeman $5 million should be taken seriously. And the signs were there. I thought that we had enough to cover up the deficiencies as far as the offensive line goes, deficiencies on the defensive line. I thought we had enough for that, but turns out we didn't have enough for that. We don't have enough for that. Things are not looking great. They're not looking great. And I said this in the video that I did a couple of weeks ago. It's not looking great right now. It's honestly not. I mean, you can, point to whatever statistic you want to. There's a lot of people who are super into all of these crazy analytics and whatnot. But at the end of the day, if you don't protect your quarterback, you're not going to win ball games. I mean, it's that easy. It's really that easy. I don't need statistics. I don't need the NFL, the next gen stats. I don't need any of that shit. If we don't protect Herbert, we're not winning. And that's what's going on right now. We're not protecting the quarterback, and we're just not going to win. On top of not being able to run the ball, we have running back injuries. Get it, acknowledge it, 100%. But we still have to play ball games. We still got to play ball games. It is what it is. We can't sit around and, oh, this person's injured, that person's injured. All the other teams in the league don't give a shit about our injuries. They don't care. They don't care. Nobody's playing the small violin for us. Nobody. You got to go out there. You have to perform. You got to play. This is where everything, the teams who are injured right now, the teams who are winning. I just seen the Lions win right now. Their secondary completely decimated. They got a bunch of guys off the street playing in their secondary. They just shut down a pretty damn good passing offense. Baker Mayfield, the Bucks, they shut them down. Fourth down, they got all the way down. They bowled up at the end of the game and stopped them from even scoring a touchdown, from even making it interesting. You can win. You can win, but this requires the full organization to win like this. It requires coaching. It requires your GM, your front office to fill holes, fill positions that need to be filled when guys go down. That's what it requires. If you don't have that, then yes, you're going to blame injuries and say, oh, such and such is out. That's why we lost. This requires everything. Your coaching, you have to compensate for this. Your game plans have to reflect that compensation. If you're down some offensive linemen, your game plan has to be a heavy, you got to run the ball. You got to be a heavy run team, right? Short screens and all this stuff. You have to adjust to whoever you have up there. If you don't adjust to it, if you keep going out there and thinking you're going to play the same exact way with all these backups in, yes, you're going to get beat. And you're going to get beat bad by a good Colts team. I'm here. I talked a lot of shit about the Colts. I'm not ducking none of the smoke. I'm not ducking none. If there's any Colts fan, come in here, roast me. I'm not going to block you. I'm not going to take you out of here. I'm not soft like that. I talk the shit so I can take it. The Colts, they look pretty good. They look really, really, really good. You can tell that Shane Steichen was a little bit hyped for this game. He had something to prove. And they came in there and they hit us in the mouth. And it hit us in the mouth in the first quarter, and they never stopped hitting us in the mouth. Our defense couldn't do shit against them. And, I a lot of credit, but it would be one thing if there was a bunch of razzle-dazzle stuff. But Steichen, the Colts did what they did all year long. They ran plays that they ran all year long. The execution was just there. It was easy for them. It was easy. And again, credit them. But they weren't pulling, the rabbit out of the hat. They were running the ball, play action, doing the same thing that they've done all season long. They didn't come out and show anything different against us than they have been doing against every other team. The run game, pretty consistent. Jonathan Taylor was 17 carries for 96 yards. Very efficient. That's efficient on the ground with 3 touchdowns. Very efficient a game from him. Daniel Jones, I think 23 of 34 for 288. Super, super efficient. Only sacked one time. Big plays. Third down. Spreading the ball around. Really, he is in very, very, very good rhythm and chemistry with those receivers that he has. Those are not that nobody's going to confuse that group of receivers for being one of the top in the league, but he's on the same page as them. Pittman, Pierce, Downs didn't play, but he's on the same page as him. And Tyler Warren, he's looking like the rookie of the year to me. He's heavily involved in this game plan, and he doesn't look like a rookie. He doesn't play like a rookie. Not a surprise though. He was really good at Penn State, so I'm honestly not surprised. I'm not shocked by that. But what I was shocked by was the incompetence that the Chargers showed. Like this is bad. This is not good. This is not good stuff. And I think a lot of people need to understand that this is a rough patch, but this rough patch might continue all season long, or it might even come into next season. The guys that we have now, do I trust Jim Harbaugh as a coach? Just 100% as a coach, I do. Yes, I do. His pedigree says so, right? Do I trust Joe Ortiz as a GM? No, I don't. I don't know what he does. He spent 20 years in Baltimore. He was never the lead decision maker over there. He never had any, any say over anybody else. He wasn't the GM. He was the assistant GM. His opinions and things, I'm sure they came into play, but he wasn't the one making decisions. He can't take credit for drafting Lamar Jackson. He can't take credit for any of the guys that they got over there. Kyle Hamilton, he can't take credit for any of those guys. He's the assistant. He wasn't the guy making the decision. So I know that he built a lot of relationships over there. That's why he pulled off the trade for Owe, which I'll try to get to right now. He pulled off that trade, but he has a lot of relationships over there. A lot of people like him. We don't know what he is as a GM, though. We have absolutely no idea. What I've seen from him so far, I don't like. I don't like it because to me it shows that he is so entrenched in the Ravens franchise. You're trading for Owe, which he got his first sack last week against the Dolphins. That was his first sack of the year for a first round pick, a guy who has all the promise in the world. He looks the part. He's just not productive at all. I don't know why you would trade for him, but hey, they did it. They thought it turn out well. He was nowhere to be found yesterday. Nowhere to be found. And even last week, after his first sack, he was nowhere to be found. So you got 2 games, well, two and a half, 2 3/4 games of him not really showing up, right? So it looks like that trade was a bust. I mean, he only gave up Alohi Gilman, but still, like, it didn't do anything. It's not. Khalil Mack is still the best pass rusher that we have, far and away, and that's the issue with his age and his injury history. Again, a serious team is not going to have an aging star like that be their best pass rusher. These were signs to not take us seriously, and because I believed in Harbaugh, I took the Chargers seriously. But this is not going to happen again, though. Like, wholesale changes need to be made. There's no question, no doubt about it. Okay, but let me get back to what I was saying about Harbaugh and Ortiz. Now, when Harbaugh was hired with the 49ers, what was it, 2011, I believe, right? 2010, 2011. He was fresh out of college, fresh out of Stanford, goes to a 49ers team that was constructed extremely, extremely well. And most of that came from them being asked for I don't know how long. They were asked for a good minute. They had a bunch of early first round picks almost every single year. You're drafting an Alex Smith first, right? You're getting an Alden Smith. You had a Michael Crabtree. They had all these guys, right? Frank Gore in the back. They were able to take Kaepernick in the second round. They had a bunch of guys who ended up, playing well for them. Those guys were high draft picks when he got there. So those guys were already there when Harbaugh got there. This was a good team. It was a good mixture of young players and veterans. They were very talented. They all of them, they played tough. They just didn't have that direction. Harbaugh came in with that direction, and obviously they had a lot of success. But the thing when it went bad, he did not have as much say as he wanted. He wanted more personnel say. Trent Baalke, Jed York, those were the guys who were in charge. They butted heads with Harbaugh. Harbaugh, he wanted more. He wanted a lot more say. They didn't give it to him, and they basically ushered him out of San Francisco to Michigan, essentially. That's essentially what happened with the Niners' tenure. So, as good as Jim was there, he didn't build that team. That team was already built. And you can even look to some of the draft picks that came along. And I don't know, again, Harbaugh had some say. He didn't have a whole lot of say, but there were some busts that they ended up drafting. Michael James out of Oregon, really fast, explosive running back in college, but he was tiny. Didn't pan out in the NFL, and I don't think anybody was surprised by that. I know they had a first round pick one year, was AJ Jenkins. I think he came from like Illinois or something. Really unheralded receiver up until like his junior year, until he got out. The Niners drafted him in the first round. He did nothing, absolutely nothing at all. Like there were some picks that they whiffed on, and essentially that's what led them to firing Harbaugh, rebuilding, and they are who they are now. But it took them a long time to get there. And after Harbaugh left, things was a mess. It was a mess for quite a while. Even when Kyle Shanahan first got there, his first couple of years, kind of tough. So they had a solid mess on their hands, and I think everybody deserves a little bit of blame. Harbaugh deserves the little tiny bit of blame, but mostly it was the GMs, right? They didn't want to work with him, and they thought they could hire these unproven coaches, and things didn't go well there. So he didn't really have that personnel say. Now at Michigan, he did, but it's a different story. It's recruiting. It's all of this stuff. It's not professional football. And even at Michigan, he butted some heads. He had some recruiting violations. When he first got to Michigan, he was going to Florida. He was going to Florida, California. He was having like these little satellite camps where he would bring the whole entire team out there to quote unquote practice and end up talking to recruits and all of this stuff. I think the NCAA they fined Michigan for that or something. They gave him like a tier one violation or something like. He had a couple violations at Michigan, so he's kind of always done things his way, whether or not they are within the rules or not. He's always done things his way, and then obviously the Connor Stallion stuff from just a couple of years ago when Michigan won the championship. Like all of it has been kind of a roller coaster ride with Harbaugh as far as him having control of personnel. When you mix those two guys together who have never really done this before, you're gonna get this. You're gonna get this, and there's a lot of nepotism going on. And I think this, the way that the Chargers are looking right now, I think this is good. I honestly think this is a good thing going forward because it's gonna force Jim and it's gonna force Joe to really, really, really improve this team. You're not going to be able to go to Baltimore and start, picking guys out from Baltimore and say, oh, we got this guy from Baltimore, that guy. That's not going to work. We know that doesn't work. We're seeing it right now. We got a couple guys from Baltimore in our roster who have played in Baltimore. They're not panning out. We've seen it before. We know that this shit doesn't work. We know it doesn't work. So you're not going to be able to go and do this, every single year. Go and try to poach guys from Baltimore because if it's one thing about Baltimore, the way that they draft, their front office, Eric DeCosta is the GM, he's not letting good talent go from Baltimore. He's not just letting good talent walk from Baltimore to LA. That's not what it is. If it's a guy who they feel is really, really good, they're holding on to him. They're not letting him walk. They're not letting him go. So that's something that I think is going to improve going forward. You're not going to be able, and Jim's not going to be able to pull a bunch of guys from Michigan to come over here too, because it's not working out. It's not working out. It's not resulting in anything. Like this year, the trajectory of what it should have been, winning 11 games last year, losing in the playoffs. Okay, yeah, everybody was so happy, going forward to see what the future holds. They're supposed to win a playoff game this year, just off the trajectory. You should be winning a playoff game. We got to the playoffs last year. You lose. Obviously the cupboard was bare. Didn't really have anybody. No weapons, all this stuff. So the trajectory is to win playoff games now. So that's where we should be right now, at least winning the playoff game in season 2 of Harbaugh Ortiz. So these guys, they haven't done it before. They have not done it before. So if things continue this way and people start talking, just remember, these guys haven't done it. They haven't done this before. They have no experience with this. No experience. I don't care I don't care what he was a part of in Baltimore. If he wasn't the one making these decisions, who cares? Who cares? That's like doing a group project and put your name on it. He there's no pedigree. He has no pedigree for this. He hasn't led a team to the Super Bowl. So, hey, this if they continue with this, this is going to get ugly. It's going to get ugly. Let's see. Let me get to some of you guys in the chat here. Let's see. Angie said we weren't prepared for this game. No, we definitely were. Definitely wasn't. Do you think they could get back to the 3-0 form they were in, or did teams figure them out already? I don't know, man. I think honestly, what to me, it looks like that little portion of the season, starting the season off, three divisional games, it seems like that's what the Chargers were preparing for in training camp. It seems like that's what they were wanting to do. Let's get off to this 3-0 start, and then you're going to continue to go down the schedule, beat teams who you should beat, right? Which would the Dolphins would qualify, the Giants game would have qualified. All of that stuff would have qualified for us beating a team that we should beat, right? And getting off to that 3-0 start could have catapulted us. I think that they were prepared for that. I think that's what they did really in training camp, preparing for those games, in particular the first game against Kansas City. We seemed to catch them off guard, really, with what we were doing. They seemed like they were ready to defend the run, and we were out there passing. And the game plan was just completely their game plan was complete. Let's just guess and see what the Chargers are going to do. We came out, we threw the ball like crazy, right? Broke a tendency that we didn't have last year, so we ended up winning that game. I don't know. I don't know if that 3-0 is who the Chargers really are. I think having information on your divisional opponents helps a lot, but I don't think that's who they really are. Honestly, for the biggest indication for me, and watching this, and where I really held my head yesterday watching the game, was that 3rd and 17. You guys remember the Staley era, 3rd and 15 for a team against a Brandon Staley defense. It's like 3rd and 5 for like a normal defense. And when they hit that 3rd and 17, I was like, man, like what are we doing here? Like this is bad. It was triggering, as some people would say. It was triggering to me, and I was just like, shit, man, are we're really going down this road again? So I don't know. I don't know if the Chargers were that good. 3-0, yes, it looked good, but I don't know if they are that good. Obviously, yes, the injuries play a part, but everybody gets injured. There's injuries on every single team. We don't get to sit around and complain and bitch that all our players are injured when everybody's getting injured. You watch an NFL game, guys are getting injured. It is what it is. You have to prepare for this. And yes, you don't want it to happen, but you have to prepare for it. There's a contingency plan in place. That's what it is. That's why you go out and scout the best talent. That's why you try to draft. That's why in free agency you value free agency, which the Chargers didn't do this year. They completely whiffed on free agency. Bradley Bozeman, Mekhi Becton, bust. Bust on the offensive line. They want to have, yes, we got two tackles, and this was before Slater got hurt. Yes, we got Slater, and we got all at tackle. What about the middle? What about guard, center, guard? That's just as important as the tackles. Like, you can't have these great two bookend tackles and shit in the middle. Well, what difference does it make? Like, there's no reasonable excuse for them to just punt on free agency the way that they did this past season. That was ridiculous. And that's the biggest thing, I think, looking at who they are now. You're losing these games, and why they're not able to run the ball, why they're not able to play hardball football. It's that. Thinking that you can coach bad football players, bad guys, guys who have not succeeded in the NFL, Bozeman, the Zion Johnsons, the Mekhi Bectons, who, he came off the Super Bowl with the Eagles, but before that he was a bust in New York. He was a bust, out of shape. He looks to be out of shape right now too. He's not moving very well. You can't run the ball behind him. So this is who he is. It really is. Let's see. Ortiz drafts good, but nothing else. I mean, he does. He does draft good, but and I was thinking about this earlier. Like, there are guys like Oronde Gasson. Like, he was a 5th-round pick, and he looks to be the tight end of the future. But that's why I was like thinking about this. Like, there's always guys who like come along in later rounds of the draft who end up being stars on different teams and all this stuff. But does it make that GM good that he drafted this guy? Because Gatson looks like he can play anywhere in the league. He doesn't just look like he can play with the Chargers. His talent, his route running, his ability to get open, and then you seen that run after catch yesterday. That translates any team. You go down the list, all 30. That translates to any team. So I don't know. Yes, credit to Ortiz for drafting him, but I don't know. Like the kid was going to get drafted, and if you give him an opportunity to run routes in training camp and practices, he's going to turn heads. Like he's just a talented dude. So this happens every now and then. I like to liken it back to like a Max Crosby. Max Crosby was drafted in the fourth round by the Raiders, and who drafted Max Crosby? Like you wouldn't know that off the top of your head. I believe it was Mike Mayock, but Mike Mayock is out of a job. Like he's not, and he'll never be a GM again. I mean, maybe he can work. I don't know, maybe as an assistant or something at best. But like who drafted Max Crosby? Like that doesn't make you a good GM because you hit on a few late round picks or whatever. Like there's just talented guys all the way up and down the draft, and if you draft a guy who is motivated or you draft a guy who thinks that they should have went a little bit higher and they got a chip on their shoulder, they're going to come in and ball out. I don't think that makes you a good GM. Now, if he has like a consistent record of doing this every single year, then yes, I'll give it to him. But, ultimately, I just think that there's a lot of guys in the draft who are good. And Jim Harbaugh played against a lot of these guys. He coached against a lot of these guys at Michigan. So his input obviously means something as well too. He has, really clear data on them, like from their college days and how they could project on certain teams, especially in the Chargers. So I don't know. I wouldn't give Ortiz that much credit. Defense bitched up. Yes, they did. There's people out there that think the Odafe Owe trade was a robbery. I don't get it. I don't get it. And he Penn State. He went to Penn State. I remember watching him, and I remember them talking about his frame. He's like 6'5", 6'6", 260 something. Again, he looks every part of what you would if you were building a Hall of Fame looking pass rusher. He looks every part of that. He doesn't produce though. In his entire career, all 3 years at Penn State, I think he had like 8 sacks. That's nothing. That's middle of the pack. Probably even below average. Like 8 sacks in 3 years as a 5-star recruit, as somebody who is supposed to be looked at as being a future star in the NFL. That's not enough production for me. This is where the fine line between production and what you can like projection versus production. For him, it wasn't there. And even coming into the league, I think his best year was like 9, 10 sacks, but that was 1 year. And then he went back to having 1 sack, 2 or 5. Like the production is not there. The production is not there. He's not a guy who's going to come in and change the game. And we seen that. He came in, got a sack in Miami, his first game with the Chargers, did nothing, did absolutely nothing yesterday, and I could expect him to do nothing on Thursday. He gets lost. You forget he's out there. He doesn't have that production. He's not a productive guy. He looks the part. He looks impressive, and maybe there's coaches out there who feel like they can get something out of him that all the other coaches couldn't, but he is who he is. He's not that great. He honestly is just not that great. He looks good in his uniform, but he's not a producer. Let's see. He's probably better than Caleb Murphy. The question is, how the Chargers gonna have to pay to keep up. They're not keeping. Definitely not keeping Oweh. The favoritism is bullshit. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Jets Gaming. Let's see. You sent a happy. I guess that's a gift or something. I'm new to this. Thank you. Becton is soft as Twinkie feeling. He is. How many times have you seen Becton down on the ground this season? Down on the ground with and I know he had that concussion. I think was it the Giants game? I think he had a concussion. And that's obviously serious, and I'm not knocking him for getting concussions, but how many times have you seen him on the ground just looking like he's out of breath? Like nothing's wrong with him. He gets up and he can't run to the sidelines and all this stuff. He does not look like he is engaged really at all. He doesn't look like he did last year in Philly. I know that for a fact. He does not look like that. So again, the Chargers, they didn't pay him a lot, but thinking that taking a chance on him, a chance on a guy who is at the mountaintop, right? His career was really, really struggling in New York. He was a bust. And then, he gets back, works hard, gets signed, 1-year deal with the Eagles. They win the Super Bowl. Now it's just downhill. And that's one of the issues that you have when you sign a guy like that is once you get to the mountaintop, and you've already been there and you've experienced it, do you still want to be there? Are you still going to, get up and work as hard as you did last year before you got to the mountaintop? That's one of the issues I had with the signing. If he was going to stay in shape, if he was going to be Philadelphia Becton, sure, but he's not Philadelphia Becton, and things are not looking good at all, at all. Should a Muslim be allowed to play football, being that is played with pigskin? What the? Come on, man. Let's see. Vikings always whoop on us. Going to be a tough game with Bozeman playing. Yeah. Angie said Bozeman is bench. I want to see Bozeman bench. I really do. I really do. Um, it and the Brian Flores defense too. I think not being able to protect the quarterback and then having to play that defense with his scheme. Mm-mm, mm-mm. Super Point, hey bro, you said we were frauds. You were ready to admit you were wrong after we put belt to ass. I am. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. I want more Colts fans to come in here. I'm not ducking the smoke. The Colts, they did what they were supposed to do. And the one thing I will say though, the one thing I will say, the one thing I was right about, just this one thing I was right about. The Colts still have not played a good team, because I wouldn't put the Chargers up in there with it being a good team. If you're able to convert on 3rd and 17 and you are, what did they punt once yesterday? Once, maybe twice, whatever it is. If you're able to just go up and down the field on the road, you're not playing a good team. You're not. And I thought the Chargers were up in there. We have a good quarterback, but team, this is not a good team. This is not a good team. And the Colts are good. I think you guys could this style of balance, complete balanced offense, just so balanced. You got Jonathan Taylor, you got this just balance, complete, like just 50-50. It's perfectly perfect. Steichen has cooked the recipe up to perfection. It's perfect, 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 perfect balance. Perfect balance. Yeah, that's if you're able to do that against good teams, you're gonna be fine. You'll be fine. And the Chargers are just not a good team. We act like we didn't know what was coming. So it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Oh, let's see. Angie said I read that about Bozeman. I hope I'm not giving bad info. I don't know. I didn't see it. We'll see. We'll see, because he had some very, very, very bad reps yesterday, and there's one going viral. I posted it on my community wall yesterday. The screenshot of him. He tries to engage DeForest Buckner, barely hits him, falls to the ground. Zion Johnson is doing this thing where he looks like he's playing defense on the basketball court, going like that from side to side, and Buckner gets back and just annihilates Herbert, while these guys are just jacking off essentially. So like, yeah, I hope so. I hope so. Andre James, no, he can't be worse. He can't be worse. He can't be worse than what Bozeman is. Bozeman is just not, and he doesn't move well either. Even if the Chargers think that he is like superior intellect at the center position and all that stuff, which he's not, but even if they thought that, he doesn't move well. He looks out of shape, and he's not even that old either. I think he's been in the league 6-7 years. I want to say him and Andre James are around the same age. He looks like he's like 40. He doesn't move at all, at all, at all. You cannot pull him. He cannot get out and block anybody. I don't know. I honestly don't even know why he's in the league. If he wasn't with the Chargers, I bet he wouldn't be on a roster right now. I bet he would be a guy that a team would call if their center went down in the middle of the season or whatever. But he wouldn't be on the roster. There's no way. There's absolutely no way he would be on the roster. There's nothing that he showed in camp too that can justify him being out on the field. It's straight nepotism. People were trying to say, oh, well, maybe they seen what James did in camp. If he didn't impress them, that no. The fact that Bozeman got paid $5 million for this, what we're getting right now, is ridiculous. That lets you know that something was up. And the fact that he's on the field, again, lets you know that something is up. So until there's a legitimate change there and we can see what Andre James has done, and you got to give him time too. You can't just put James in the game, and things go bad, and they give him some sacks, and be like, oh, see, he's not as good. See, Bozeman is better. No, 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 no. You got to give him some time. I don't like that. I really, really do not like that. Uh, Clay Gerber says, why haven't you joined the Army to help defend our country? Hey, Clay Gerber, I am a former Air Force veteran. So I have. Why haven't you? So don't come in here putting comments and no, you don't know. Like, you don't know me. You don't know me. I was in the Air Force. I defended my country. Have you? You probably haven't. If you're sitting here typing, I know this. If you have defended this country, if you've been in any of the armed forces or whatever, and I'm sure there's some weirdos out there, but most of us are not going to sit around and type in people's comments and talk shit. I know that much. So you don't know me. You don't know me. I don't know you. You don't know at all. I can show you my cat card right now. 2T251 Air Force. That was my AFSC. So, hey, what's yours? Dante Jackson been getting beat all season. Yep, he's another one of the signings, and I was okay with it, especially considering that they're playing zone. But now that the teams have seen where the weak spots are, they're gonna go at him. He hasn't been good. He hasn't been awful, but he hasn't been good either. Seems like Sean Payton knows how to get the O-line with dead cap. We are still figuring it out here. Bingo. That's exactly. And that was the point that I was going to bring up too. Just 2 years ago, the Broncos, they had the worst rated offensive line. They were at the bottom, at the very, very bottom. Russell Wilson, y'all remember that? That was a shit show. They now top 10 offensive line in 2 years. And one of those years taking a huge, huge, huge dead cap hit for Russell Wilson. That was like 80 million. Was it 80 million? Something like that. 70, $80 million dead cap hit for Russell Wilson. That's 70 to 80 million dollars of your total, your total spending. That's a good percentage of it. That's a good portion. 25% of it or whatever. Just gone, completely wiped away by cutting Russell Wilson. So yeah, he knows how to get an offensive line together. There's no excuse for the Chargers to be still dealing with this. And like this nepotism stuff has to stop. Trey Pipkins, we've seen enough of him. We know he's never going to be an offensive lineman. Move off of him. We've seen enough of Bozeman. Move off of him. We've seen enough of Zion Johnson. Move off of him. They have to get guys in here, at least give them the opportunity. Newer guys. We don't need to see any more of these dudes. We know that they can't be good. How much longer are we going to watch Trey Pipkins struggle, with the Max Crosby, struggle with the Chris Jones? How many times are we going to watch this? How many times are we going to be subjected to this? How many times am I going to go on X and look at all these people posting all these analytics about this, and that, and blah, blah, blah. And, well, Zion Johnson, he is good, but everybody else sucks. No, he sucks just with him. He sucks with him. We let him go. Oh, well, so what? And if he does well somewhere else, then congratulate him, right? Pat on the back. But, bro, you wasn't good while you were here. So there's no need to just continue holding on to pieces that we know can't be good. There's just no need for that. I don't know why the Chargers do this. I think they have to be the worst in the league at doing this. You see scrubs, and it was bad with Tom Telesco, and they have continued this tradition. You see scrubs, and they come back the next year expecting them to do something different. These guys are not good players. They're just not good players. Like, how much longer are we going to see this? Again, we've seen this is a year and not even a year and a half of Bradley Bozeman. What are we doing? Why is he still playing? You can't say that you are taking this serious. You can't say that you are seriously trying to win a championship with these types of players on your roster. It just doesn't happen. Go look at Kansas City. Joe Tooney, right? They signed Joe Tooney. I think it was like 4 years ago from New England. Joe Tooney was a good offensive lineman with the Patriots. He won a Super Bowl there. They signed him off of the Patriots roster. Bring him to Kansas City. They win a couple of Super Bowls with Joe Tooney. The minute Joe Tooney started sucking, they let him go. Joe Tooney's in Chicago now playing well, might I add. But the minute he started dipping off, Andy Reid, they let him go. And they drafted. They got a new left tackle, Josh Simmons from Ohio State. They are making moves. They're not just going to sit there and let a guy rot in the position. I don't know why they do that. I have no idea why the Chargers do that. And then they want to sit there and talk to you like you're stupid and like, oh, we can get this coaching. what Greg Roman said about Bradley Bozeman. Well, he grades out well with the. How does what? What are we talking about? What are we talking about when you're talking about grading players out? A good player is a good player. A bad player is a bad player. There's no two ways to go about it. If you have a center who can't protect, if you have a center who's on the ground as soon as the play starts, this is not a good player. What metrics are they using to say, oh, this is a good player and that's not a good player? What metrics are they using? We need to know. As fans, we need to know because we need to know. That way, we can stop giving them our ticket money. That way, we can tell them to fuck off when they send these emails and these text messages about season tickets. We can tell them to go piss up a rope. We need to know how they're grading these players because it doesn't work out. You can't say that a guy is good, and then we watch these games. There are, and I'm not like being sexist or whatever. I know women like football and all this stuff too. But typically women don't pay attention to like super, like they're not like super detailed. There's women who are posting like these videos of Bradley Bozeman saying like, what the hell is he doing? What? Like, this is embarrassing. Haven't they had enough? When have they had enough? When are they going to have enough? Like, it doesn't make sense how this has still been going on. And again, this is us. This is our organization. Maybe it's a Spanos thing. Maybe it's a Dean Spanos thing. Maybe it's a John Spanos thing. Maybe they are liking people too much. They value character and all this other stuff. If they do, hey, great. But if a guy can't play, he can't play. It doesn't matter what he does in the community. That's not going to make him a good player. If he goes and hands turkeys out and all this stuff, like they were talking about Bozeman last year when the Chargers played in Carolina. Oh, he played here and he's got family here. Great. Good job. Get him the hell off my team. Go do that full time. I don't give a shit. Like, I'm a fan. I consume this. I'm consuming this. I want to see wins. That's all I care about. I don't care about what a guy does off the field, this, and that. I don't care. I want to see wins. And if you don't have the guys there to help produce that, I don't care about what they do. I honestly don't. I honestly don't. Call me heartless or whatever, but I don't have time for this. I've been a Charger fan for 35 now. I've been a Charger fan since I was 13, so 22 years. I haven't seen us get close to a Super Bowl yet. I don't care. All that is just, I don't care. It's meaningless. That's all pregame talk stuff, and I don't watch pregame shows. I tune in. If we're playing at 10 a.m., bam, I'm turning the channel at 10 a.m. If we're on at 105, I'm on at 105. 125, 125. I don't give a shit about all this other stuff. I don't care. Be good guys in the community. Pat you on the back. Great. Good job. I don't care. Give me a winning football team. That is all I care about. Give me that's it. That's it. What winning football team is all I care about. That is it. And then now turkeys like Nino Brown. Yeah. The Chargers put too much of this. They put too much on this, and there's all these weird fans of, oh, we got the best social media people. I don't give a damn. Can we win some ball games? Can we win some ball games? I don't care. I don't pay attention to the social media stuff. I really don't. I don't care. Oh, they're doing this, and this is funny, and that's funny. Win some damn games. I do not care. You can take that social media stuff and shove it for all I care. I don't care. Win games. Win games. That's it. Let's see. Yeah, Roman definitely has to go. Yes, Roman. How long until we replace Roman? I think it's gonna happen. Let's see. A Lungcole sent 100. I think that's a. Are those like super chats now too? I think those are like super chat. I don't know. If they are thank you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. I'm not sure what they are because this is my first time going live on here like this way. But yeah, no, this is Roman. Roman is going to go at the end of this season, and especially if if they don't make the playoffs, they do not make the playoffs. He's gone. I think he's gone already. But if they don't make the playoffs, he's gonna have to go. Harbaugh has no choice. And I tweeted this yesterday. In 2020, Michigan at 2020. If you guys don't keep up with college football or you're not into it or whatever, Jim Harbaugh, before the championship, before he came over to us, like the narrative around him completely switched. It completely flipped. It flipped. He was known as the guy that can't win the big one. He was known as the guy that can build up a program, but you can't win the big one. That's what he was known as in Michigan. In 2020, they had a pretty good team, pretty stacked team. That was one of the first times that he got like a talented quarterback, Shea Patterson. I think he transferred over from was it Ole Miss, I want to say, but it was one of the only times that he got a really good quarterback, like a quarterback who is considered good in this era, right? Guy who can throw and run. That was the first time that happened. They got built the team up, got all the way up. They ended up fluttering. So he ended up having to fire one of his friends. It was the what was Don Brown was the defensive coordinator at the time. Really old. He's an older guy. I think he was in his 70s. He had to fire him. He had to fire him. That was one of his friends at Michigan. He had no choice but to fire him. The boosters were talking about, let's fire Jim Harbaugh, or we're not going to offer the extension that he's expecting to get. He's going to have to make some choices. So they basically held like the extension, they held the money hostage until he was making changes on his coaching staff. And he did this several times. When he first got to Michigan, I can't remember the guy's name. I think he was a coordinator for like 1 or 2 years. You know, the pressure was on him. This offense looks archaic. This is not a college football offense, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So he gets fired. He gets new, what's his name? Josh Gaddis. I think he came from Alabama. He was like a passing game coordinator, whatever. Really like, fancy offensive coordinator type of dude. Puts him in at OC. I think he ended up quitting. And then so he ended up having Sharon Moore, who is the coach now. Him and was it Matt Weiss? I think were the they both had the offensive coordinator role. They were co-offensive coordinators, and I think for a while they would like switch games. Like Moore is calling one game, Weiss is calling another game. So he's made several changes on his staff at Michigan because the fans at Michigan were on his ass. They were on him. Harbaugh can't win the big one, and there was a couple of games where he had some blunders. There was a big game against Notre Dame. I want to say it was like 2020 season. That's a really, really big. You go on YouTube, and that's like one of his biggest blunders. Like the special teams, everything. They looked great in that game. They ended up losing to Michigan. So he was known as a guy that could not. No, I'm sorry, to Notre Dame. They lost to Notre Dame. So he was known as a guy that couldn't get the job done at Michigan up until things changed, and then he finally won that national championship, and then came over to us. So he was known as a guy not being able to get it done. Took him 9 years to get to that point at Michigan. He improved his recruiting. He obviously got it down to what he was looking for: offensive line, the tight ends, really good big defensive players and all that stuff. Aiden Hutchinson, Ojabo, I think he plays for the Ravens now too. Like, so he got it down to where he was recruiting a lot of good talent on both sides of the ball, but it took him a while to get to the championship point. Now, when it comes to the NFL, he doesn't have 9 years. He knows that. He understands that. He's not going. Somebody said started selling signs. That too. That too. I'm not gonna. Hey, no argument here. He started selling signs. He did. So it is what it is. It is what it is. But yeah, I mean, no. So that's who he was known as at Michigan. He's not going to have 9 years to do this in the NFL. He knows this. He understands this. He's not going to have 9 years. He's not even going to have 5 years. So that pressure that he felt at Michigan, it's you turn it up 5 notches in the NFL, especially with a team like the Chargers, especially with the quarterback as talented as Herbert. You turn that notch up, turn it all the way up. You turn it up, turn it up, turn it up, because he doesn't have that time. He's not going to have 9 years. He would have to have several extensions to get to 9 years to win a Super. That's not going to happen. Not going to happen. They expect something year 3. Year 3 next year is the year. If things are not going well, if this same product is out on the field next year in year 3, I wouldn't expect him to be the coach for very long. Maybe start looking for him to, be sniffing around some other college jobs or something. But I would not expect him to be around for long if this is what's going on in year 3. I think he'll make it out of year 3, but would he want to come back? Would he say, I'm just going to retire now, or whatever? But I wouldn't expect him, if this is out on the field, if we get this exact result, if we just transport this into next year, we'll be looking for a new coach again. I can guarantee that. He would not be around long, and I think Ortiz probably would. He would be right along with him too. Ortiz has he had, at least Jim has a background. Jim has won a national championship. He's a championship winning football coach. Ortiz is not a championship winning anything. He's a guy that hung around the smart guys in the Ravens front office, and he's getting his opportunity to prove how smart he is now. But it is, hey, it is what it is. Does Roman's firing buy him year 3 and 4? I think so. I think so. If you give him a new offensive coordinator, and it's going to have to be the he would have to nail the coordinator hire too. It's going to have to be somebody younger. It's going to have to be somebody who's in tune with the NFL. I don't think he can go back to college and get somebody and put him in here. It's going to have to be somebody. It's going to have to be like a real like hot shot type of coordinator in my opinion. I just don't think that he has that leeway now, especially when you have seen what they have done, what this offense has done. They're last. We are last in red zone. Last in the red zone. Touchdown percentage. We are awful. Awful in the red zone. Stuff like that gets you fired. It doesn't yards don't matter what you're doing, scheme, philosophy, all none of that matters. If you are last in red zone percentage, that's one of the stats. And owners and outside of the Colts owner who walks the sidelines, owners don't really pay attention to all this analytical stuff. But that's one of the stats that will get an owner's attention right there. Well, that means we can't score touchdowns. We can't score touchdowns. That means we don't win. We don't win. That means we don't make money. That's one of those that will get the owner's attention. So yes, something's gonna have to change. You can't bring back the worst red zone offensive coordinator. You can't do that. There's no room for that in the league. And you look at any other team, what other team would do that? There's no other team that would do that. Jim can't sell that to the ownership. He can't sell that to the Spanos. Yes, I know we suck in red zone. I know we're last. We're completely last in the red zone. We have one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league, arguably a top 3 talent in the league. But we suck in the red. There's no way he can. How can he sell that to ownership? How can he sell? I own this the Spanos family. If you own this multi-billion-dollar investment, how can you sit here and hear this from him and you're sold on what he's saying when you've already seen the results? It's not like he's starting off new. We've seen the results. We're here at these games. We watch this. We see how the Chargers struggle in the red zone. We see they're not able to run the ball in the red zone. You can't sell this. You can't sell this to ownership. I know a lot of people think that, oh, Jim won't fire him. Jim won't fire. This might not be a Jim decision. This more than likely wouldn't be a Jim decision. If I'm ownership, I'm saying, no, he's got to go. We got to look for somebody else. We need to come, get with the times here. Greg Roman doesn't have anything on his resume that justifies his presence in LA right now. Yes, he coached in the Super Bowl with Harbaugh, 15 years ago? With Colin Kaepernick when the league was different? There's nothing that Greg Roman has on his schedule. I mean, on his resume that justifies him being with the Chargers, him calling plays for Justin Herbert. Nothing. Absolutely nothing at all. At all, at all. Let's see. Ortiz did have mistakes, but he's knocked 2 drafts out of the park. This was always going to be long-term, homegrown, and re-sign them type team. But you don't have that kind of time in the NFL. That's the thing. Justin Herbert is in his prime right now. And with, just like we played the Colts, but you go ask Colts fans what happened with Andrew Luck, man. Go ask him. Go ask him what happened with Andrew Luck. This is the same thing that they were saying with Andrew Luck. Chris Ballard was I think he was the older GM over there, or is he the new? I get those guys. The previous GM with the new GM that they have in Indy, but they were doing the same thing. Yeah, we're gonna resign. We're gonna resign. Andrew Luck says, "Yeah, I'm out." Now your franchise is upended. The rug is pulled. Everything you plan to do ain't happening no more. It's not happening anymore. The Colts were planning. They were projecting themselves and being AFC Championship contenders, right? Potentially getting to a Super Bowl with Andrew Luck at quarterback. Andrew Luck says, "Yeah, my body's had enough. I'm out." And I can't say anything about, Justin Herbert. We don't know much about him outside of him being a good football player, and he's dating this younger white girl, Madison, whatever her name is. I have no idea who she is. I'm a mid-30s black guy. I don't she sings pop music or whatever. I have no idea who she is. She's a pretty girl, but yeah. So he's with her, right? She's obviously pretty. She's a pretty girl. He has money. He got his contract. You turn on NFL football Sundays, Thursdays, you see Justin Herbert on advertisements everywhere. He's making money. He's not big on social media. He's not a guy that's out there and all this stuff. I don't like. Does he love football enough to keep getting hit like this? Does she get in his ear and be like, "Well, Justin, you coming home? you you got a different injury every week and all this stuff, and you're still going out there and play." Like we got to look at the human side of this. How long does he want to stay around, keep getting hit? Because once he does retire, he's about to go to Oregon and disappear forever. You're not going to see him on TV. You're never going to see him anywhere. You might see him at some Oregon games and all this stuff, but he doesn't have the LA type of personality. He doesn't need he doesn't need this. He's got enough money now. He's got generational money. Hey, I'm just saying. So how long can you put this around your star quarterback? How long can you expect him to take this type of punishment? He got hit a bunch of times yesterday too. If he gets hurt during the season, like I'm not saying I'm hoping that he doesn't retire, but I'm just saying, like, at some point, as a man, at some point, if he hopes to have a family, be a father, raise his children, want to be around his children's lives, and go to different milestone events and all that stuff, and not be in a body cast, he's gonna have to think about this. He's got a woman now. These are the things you think about when you get that age. Like, you're not doing the same things that you did when you were younger. I don't know. I don't know. It's what happened with Andrew Luck. So I'm just saying, and Herbert's kind of like, as far as personality wise, he's kind of like in that same vein as Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck's not on social media. I don't think he is, but I've never seen Andrew Luck tweet. I've never seen him do a bunch of interviews and sit down and talk to all these people. I've never seen that before. So Herbert, we don't see it with him either. So again, how long does he want to do this? He has a fine ass woman now. He's got a bunch of money. At some point, getting up on Sundays and getting beat up it's gonna start getting old, especially when there's nothing to show for it. There's no playoff wins to show for it. There's no trophies. There's no nothing. Like, at some point, you're gonna make the decision, like, eh, when you're on the fence about it, and I hope that doesn't happen. But the way that the Chargers are surrounding him with talent, it's making it easier for him to make that decision. I know that much. I know that much. LA Yankees. Let's see. Herbert reminds me of Holtz of Paterno. He's out of touch, but can rival the locker room staff, needs a transplant. Exactly. Definitely. If Dayball gets fired, there's going to be some coordinators out there too. There's going to be some coordinators. If Dayball gets fired, I would take Dayball as an offensive coordinator. 100%. 100%. There's going to be the game yesterday, the Dolphins and the Browns. To me, that is, both of those coaches are going to get fired. Mike McDaniel probably very soon. If the Dolphins come out and have another performance like they did, he'll be fired next week. And I think Stefanski is probably going to get fired too. If he doesn't get fired, then he's going to be on very, 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 very shaky ground. If he doesn't, I think they're probably going to want to move on from him, though. Those are two guys right there. I'll take either of those guys as offensive coordinator. Those are guys that have worked with quarterbacks who have been less talented than Justin Herbert and have gotten more out of them. So when you take a talent like him and you put him with a guy who's able to get the best out of quarterbacks, yes, you can expect some good things. And those are both guys who understand the run game as well, too. Harbaugh likes to run the ball. Both of those guys, they can scheme run game. The Browns, they had the best run game in the league for a while under Stefanski. Stefanski's a former coach of the year. He got the best out of Baker Mayfield. He got the best out of Brissett. He got the best out of all of these quarterbacks who you've seen. And they're winning games with Dylan Gabriel, too. It's not pretty, but they're winning games. They're winning games. So if this is a guy who the Browns say, we're going to move off from, yeah, give me Stefanski, give me McDaniel, give me a guy who knows how to run offense. That's all I'm looking for. It's got to be a guy who knows how to run offense. Dable, let's see, Dable will most likely not get fired. Has some more goodwill with Dart. Yeah, and I thought that too until I seen the end of the game yesterday. For them to give up that lead like that, I don't like. Yes, we as fans don't think that. We don't think that he should be fired and all this stuff. But I think if you're looking at it, if you're trying to like jump into like an owner's brain, like if they look at Dart and they look at his performance and Scatterboo and they're like, oh yeah, these guys they look really good. Why wouldn't the owner be thinking, yes, these guys look good under Dable, but if I got a coach, like a superstar coach, how would these guys look under a superstar coach? I know that's what I would be thinking if I was an owner. So yes, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, but a few more losses like this and his seat gets a lot hotter. His seat was already hot, but a few more losses like this where they give up, a bunch of points, or they come out if they have a stinker or whatever, like he can't afford to have any of those. The his seat was already hot. People have already said that Jackson Dart is saving his job. That's the narrative right now. It's not that Daboll has worked with Dart and helped develop him. It's Dart is saving his job, and I don't know. If I was him, I would be worried. I would be worried. A few more bad losses, and I don't know, because the Giants, they fire coaches. They fire coaches like crazy. So yeah. So it is what it is. They say, yo, bro, you look like George Washington. Black George Washington. You said the Colts were overrated. I did, and I don't. We'll see. We'll see if he is. We'll see if the Colts are overrated. Honestly, because again, they didn't play anybody. The Chargers are not anybody. The Chargers are not a good team. We'll see. They go to Kansas City in a couple of weeks. They go to Arrowhead in a couple of weeks. It's getting colder out there, and the Chiefs are warming up. So we'll see how they perform out there against the Chiefs, because that's going to be the litmus test for me. If they go out there and they perform, and they don't have to win the game, but if they are like neck and neck with the Colts, yes, I'll believe. But if they go out there and get the doors blown off them, if the Chiefs go out there and just doing bad, then yes, I would say they're overrated, because at that point that means they're not a contender. If you are not beating the Chiefs in January, then you're not a contender. So it is what it is. You're gonna have to, if you think that the Colts are a contender, you got to go to Arrowhead and you got to go beat those guys out there in the cold. That's just what it is. That's where the barometer is right now. They just got Rashee Rice back too. You see what they did to the Raiders yesterday? Held Geno Smith to 60 yards passing. Their defense is coming together. They had some injuries. They had guys coming back. Obviously, Rice coming back. The Chiefs are heating up, and they still got it. They still got it. Yes, they had a rough start to the season, but those 3 losses are way behind them now. They're way, way behind them. So if y'all can go to Arrowhead, and again, you don't have to win, but can you stay competitive? Can you make it seem like you can beat this team? If you just need a few things to go your way. If you can go out there and be competitive, then yes, I'll come out here and say, yeah, I was completely wrong, completely off base. The Colts were not overrated. They look what they did in Kansas City. Yeah, but because I know they're in our division. If you're a Colts fan, you're feeling good right now. Yes, you're feeling good. You go to Arrowhead. You go to Arrowhead in a few weeks. Again, it's going to be cold out there. It's going to be cold out there. You know what they talk about, what they say when the refs are a little bit on that side too. You're going to have to deal with all that out there. Daniel Jones is going to have to deal with all of that out there. It's nice in what's going on now and SoFi and all that stuff, but go out there. That's the barometer. Kansas City, that's the barometer. You got to go to Arrowhead. You got to go to Arrowhead, and you got to perform there. If you don't go and perform, and you go and you get your ass kicked like everybody else did out there, then you are just who everybody else is. We've seen these teams come up over the past years. When the Dolphins, when they first hired McDaniels, the Dolphins, they were the team to go and beat, the Chiefs. Didn't do it. The Bills, Josh Allen and when Daboll was the coordinator, and now is the time. They got enough to beat the Chiefs and Arrowhead. They didn't do it. The Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson. These guys are good. Nope, they didn't do it either. So unless you guys think that you guys are better than all those other teams who went out there to go and play the Chiefs in Arrowhead, I don't know. Are the Colts a good team? Yes. Are they a contender? Like a true, real contender? We'll see. But I know that at Arrowhead, as good as you played against the Chargers, you're going to have to play better out there. And if you think that there's a level that you can get to that's better than the Chargers, then yes, you think you're a contender. But all of that is yet to be determined. We can all have opinions on it, but you guys got to go out there and play. That's the only thing that's going to shut me down, is going to shut any detractors down. You got to go out there and play. And Daniel Jones doesn't show up in big games like that. That's been the MO in his career. Big games like that, he doesn't show up. So we'll see. We will see what happens. Fuck, I hear my mom. The refs are on our side. The refs on our side is what stupid people that are tired of getting BTA by the Chiefs. No, I'm not saying the refs are on your side, but I'm saying that's what people say. Hey, if you get a call that you feel is not favorable, that's just going to be the narrative. Oh, the refs are on the Chiefs side. You got to go out there and play. Go out there and play. Go beat them. Go beat them. The opportunity is there for you guys. The opportunity is there. If you are a true contender, you can beat up on the Jags. You can beat up on the Titans. You can beat up on the Texans. You got to go to Arrowhead and you got to go beat them guys. If you are going to be who we think you're going to be, you got to go out there and beat. We've only seen one team do it so far, like one young up and coming team do it, and that was Cincinnati, and that was Joe Burrow was on fire. So, hey, there's an opportunity. I'm not saying that you guys aren't, but you got to go out there and you got to beat those guys in Kansas City, because we thought we had the division on lock. That's all gone. We gave that up. We're not even number one anymore. That's Denver. Denver's got that number one now. So any losses from us, the Chiefs getting hot right now, they're continuing to win. Hey, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Chiefs have one of the highest rate of holding calls and less than league average pass interference calls. So what does that mean? What exactly does that mean? You gotta if AEST, if you're a Colts fan, you got to go out there and beat them. None of that matters. Third down, can you stop Mahomes? Can you stop Mahomes? Can you stop Kelsey? Can you stop Rice? Can you stop them? We don't know. When it's time for you to score, can you stop Chris Jones? Can you stop? That's to be determined. Okay, you're a Chiefs fan. That's what I'm saying. I'm telling the Colts, they got to go out there and they got to beat you guys. The Colts, they feel like they are riding high and they're, all of the, and I'm saying we've seen this with teams. We've seen all of these teams. Oh, they can give Kansas City a run for their money, and nobody is able to. Nobody's able to go out there and beat the Chiefs. Nobody has been able to do that. Third down, big games. That's when Andy Reid is at his best. That's when they're pulling stuff out of their sleeves that nobody's ever seen before. That's when they're at their best. So Colts fans are really riding high. I'm saying they got to go out there and beat you. They have to go out there and beat you guys. If they don't beat you guys, then you're just another team in the Kansas City Chief graveyard. We're there too. The Chargers, we've been there, probably the first team that's been there since the Mahomes Reid era. But we've seen all these up and coming teams think that they are riding high, and they go out there to Arrowhead and they get humbled. So, hey. It is what it is. It is what it is. We'll be lucky to squeak into the 6th seed. We would be right now at this point. Denver, if Denver keeps winning games, more pressure. Kansas City, they're going to be winning games. They're rounding into shape. That's a scary sight. They don't look anything like the team that we see in week 1. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. This is what happens when you don't take things seriously. When you don't take things seriously, if you are counting on you're counting on the Chiefs to implode them. They have shown all these years they're not going to do that. They're gonna continue to replenish their ranks. When they have a weak spot on the offensive line, they're going to let it go and they're going to go redraft that. If they got a guy who can't get open at wide receiver, they're going to go and draft that. They do that. They do that as well as anybody as I've ever seen. When they have a weak spot, they address it. They had a weak spot last year on the offensive line. They went to address it. Got a really, really good tackle from Ohio State. Really good. They go and they address their needs. This is why they have been able to stay competitive for so long. With people count on the salary cap for them to fall off and all that stuff. They don't do that. They go out there, they get what they need, they draft well, they scout well, they do all those things well. They spend their money wisely in free agency. They do what they need to do to stay competitive. They do that year in and year out. So, it is what it is, man. It's just I don't know what else to say. Colts defense is not ready for the postseason. I agree too. The way that Herbert shredded them guys up yesterday, the Colts defense, offense, yes, okay, but defensively, no, absolutely not. Are you ready for Mahomes and Andy Reid with that? I don't think so. I don't think so. Absolutely not. They can put on, whatever tape of Daniel Jones against the Cardinals, against, whoever else. Out there, it's a different story. You can't, defensively, they are going to have to stop Mahomes. Nobody has been able to do that consistently. Nobody has been able to do that. So if the Colts are going to take that defense from yesterday and go out to Kansas City, I don't think it's going to be a close game, to be honest. If I'm being honest, I'm not hating at all, but I don't see. I seen a good Colts team against a bad Chargers team, but I don't see that. I don't see that being the team to beat in the AFC. I really don't. Over Kansas City, a tried and true Kansas City. I just don't. I don't see that. I don't see it. As long as Danny Dimes don't go back to his old form, and as long as Taylor stays up. But we don't know if Daniel Jones is going to go back to his old form. We don't know that. Look at Geno Smith right now. Geno Smith had 2 excellent years in Seattle, and he's back to Geno in New York. He's back. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. When a guy has not been good his entire career, when he's been bad, when he's had questionable turnovers, when he's had questionable play, when he's done all these questionable things over the course of his career, and then one year he comes out and he looks kind of good and all this stuff, I'm not trusting of that. I'm not trusting of that. Your whole career, you have been ass your whole career, right? Then you come out, you have one good year, a good half of a season and all this. No, I don't. That's like a career criminal, right? Somebody committing crimes. If you have a career criminal, somebody committing crimes for 6 to 7 straight years, they come out one year, right? January 1st of whatever year you want to say. For the first 6 months of the year, they are the perfect citizen, the model citizen. Are you going to trust them? Are you going to trust them alone in your house? Are you going to trust them alone and say, man, these 6 months have really showed me that you've changed? Are you going to trust them, or are you going to be kind of skeptical, right? You can still pat on the back and say, man, that's great progress that you've made, but are you going to be skeptical? Yes, you're still going to be skeptical. That's what I am about Daniel Jones. So, especially going up against Kansas City, in Arrowhead, in the cold, yes, I'm skeptical. I've seen greater quarterbacks not be able to go and conquer that. I've seen great quarterbacks, transcendent quarterbacks, not be able to go out there and do that. So, yeah, I don't think that I'm wrong for not trusting Daniel Jones. If that's what makes me a hater or whatever, then I'll wear the hat. I'll wear the hat. But you can't give me all this bad play. Give me a little bit, just little sample size of good play, and then I'm saying, yeah, no, you're the MVP. Yeah, no, your team is good. Yes, you're a real contender and all this stuff. That's not the way it works. That's just not the way it works. It's not the way it works in the NFL. It's not the way it works in life. Nowhere can you go where that is a thing where you're like, yeah, I gotta just believe what I see now. Forget everything else that I've seen. That's not a thing. Just not a thing. So Sam Darnold reverted back to his old habits in the last 2 games. Detroit and Rams for what? Yeah, exactly. And that's it is what it is. Like, you can come up out of it for a good amount of time. You can come up out of it, but there's always going to be something there. And again, if Daniel Jones proves me wrong, great for him. Great for him. I'm happy for him. But you can't erase 29 and 46 out of my brain. 78 touchdowns, 50 interceptions. You can't erase that out of my brain. You just can't erase that out of my brain. And you can't chalk that all up to the Giants just being a bad team. A lot of that was on him. You know, the strip fumbles and all that stuff. Like, a lot of that was on him. A lot of that was bad football by him. Yes, the Giants weren't a good team for a long time when he was there. But that wasn't all on the organization. A lot of it is on him. A lot of the play is on him. So I'm glad that he's playing better. I'm glad he cleaned it up. But you're going to have the real test here in a couple of weeks. So there's not going to be this, well, this and that, and let's compare schedules and all this stuff. No. If you are that guy, you go out there, you're that guy, you're improved and all that stuff. Great, right? Let's clap it up for you. Okay, so now go out to Arrowhead and you go beat that guy. Because if you're that guy, then you're going to beat that guy. And until you beat that guy, then you go you go in the Kansas City boneyard like everybody else. That is what it is. I'm sorry. Do you think everyone figured out Minter's defense or just bad personnel or both? Um, I don't know. I probably a little bit of both. I think he is that game plan yesterday was just what I said right now. He didn't trust Daniel Jones with that game plan because that was as college of a game plan as I've ever seen. That weak, soft zone thrown like Daniel Jones had so many wide open windows to throw into. He only got sacked one time. I think he only got hit a handful of times. And for him to just step back, 3 step, 5 step, and just fire it in there to a guy that's wide open. He did make a couple of good throws, but for the majority of the time, like there wasn't really any real pressure on him to do anything. Like he didn't have to escape the pocket and do what Herbert was doing. He could just step back. The Chargers, they weren't getting pressure at all. Didn't bat down any passes. Didn't do any of the stuff that the Colts did to Herbert. He had time to throw those receivers. They ran good routes, wide open zone. That was a very the game plan was extremely basic. And for the life of me, I don't know why they didn't blitz. I think there was a point, was it the third quarter, early, may have been early fourth, one of the times that we did get them to punt. They crowded the line of scrimmage. I think they brought everybody. That was one of the times that they brought everybody. But they got pressure on him when they blitzed. We didn't blitz enough. We didn't put enough pressure on him. We didn't hit him enough. They just went back in the zone and just expected him to throw interceptions. And like, yeah, he hasn't been good, but if you're gonna do that, he's like anybody can do that. Any backup quarterback can do that. They're gonna be able to step back, hit their back foot, and hit receivers, tight ends in these wide open zones. Like it, that was a horror, the worst game plan that I've seen Jesse Minter have as a Chargers defensive coordinator. That was nothing. That was nothing. It was what and I tweeted this yesterday. What did they practice? They could not have practiced. That was terrible. That was awful. Just a real basic cover three zone scheme, and it was nothing. It was wide open. No man under. Confused. At least try to confuse them. At least bring guys from different places. Like none of that was there. None of that. So it was a bad game plan by Minter, and I don't think he'll come out and do it again. I think that's probably the worst we'll see the Chargers defense this year. I'm hoping at least, but that game plan was awful. That was not good at all, at all. Easy to look good when you have the best O line and running back in the league. Yeah, but no, I give him credit though too. I give him credit. He's made some throws this year. Him having that running back, him having the offensive line, give him confidence. So he knows that he can step up and he can make these throws. He has arm talent. He has the physical talent. He's not lacking on that front. He's got physical talent and he's athletic too. He can run. I think it's just been between the ears with him. He's got everything. He's perfect for this modern NFL. I think it's just been between the ears. Him not recognizing coverage. Him, being a little bit careless, taking shots when he shouldn't have, and he. I didn't see any turnover worthy plays from him yesterday. So he understands where he needs to go, and Shane Steichen is a good. He works his magic. He did the same thing with Jalen Hurts. Turned Jalen Hurts into a really good quarterback in like the span of a year. Jalen Hurts went from being a little suspect to being a guy that lead a team to a Super Bowl. So let's give Steichen some credit as well too. He did a really good job with Daniel Jones. He got into his head and he instilled a lot of confidence in him because Daniel Jones has physical talent. It's just, it getting him to understand it and really understand what he's trying to do, in a certain offense. He's there. He understands what he needs to do in this Steichen offense. Brian Flores as head coach. I don't know. He's got some baggage with him. I I don't know. Like if Harbaugh was like forced to retire or something like that, maybe. But I don't know. He's got some baggage with him, and I'm not sure that he would get a fair shake as a head coach. I think the pressure would be on him. He sued the NFL, so I don't think the owners are just gonna let him like. They're not just gonna give him 5 years and be like, yeah, Brian, you got 5 years to do what you do. Like they're gonna pressure him like a year or two, and like, oh, you had a losing record this year, you're fired. So I don't know. I think for him, he's got to continue doing what he's doing and kind of let that pressure blow off of him. The more that he is able to produce these defenses like he's doing in Minnesota, I think the better it's going to be. But I think it's still very new, still very very fresh. These owners, these billionaires, they take shit like that personally. So I don't know. We'll see when we get to that point. But I don't think that he is a I don't think he's a head coach for anybody right now. Maybe in the future, but not right now. And it's weird that Henley just disappeared after the flu game. They keep saying he has an illness, but I don't know. Yeah, he didn't play well at all. That Junior Colson pick, I think somebody put that in here in the comments earlier. Awful, awful pick. Hasn't really played at all. Waste of a pick. The Chargers have issues at linebacker. Perryman didn't play well yesterday either. So, ooh, is Jalen Hurts a top 5 quarterback? I don't know. I mean, at this point, I gotta say yeah because they keep winning, and for me, like I don't stats mean something and all this stuff, but winning for me is it right there. He's got to be up there. He won a Super Bowl. I think he's a top 5 quarterback. He played really well yesterday, really really well against a pretty good Vikings defense. It the Chargers don't have the Eagles' offensive line, but hopefully it's something that they could try to replicate at least a little bit, just a little bit. But I don't know. I'm not holding out any hope. But Hurts did play really, really well yesterday. Had a perfect passer rating. So, and he's dealing with some whiny receivers and stuff like that. So they're winning. He's winning. He's a winner. He's a winner. You can't keep winning and have a guy outside of your top 5, outside of your top 10. I've been really hard on Hurts too, but he's a winner. If you're winning and he's got the hardware, he won the Super Bowl. You continue to win. You're a top quarterback in my book. I don't care about anybody else who I don't care the throws and the stuff that Herbert does, and I love it and all that. But Hurts doesn't do any of it, but he wins ball games, and that's what matters. So. Let's see. Daywalker said, "I don't hate you. You're entitled to your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion." Yeah, and it's my opinion. I don't. My opinion is not in concrete. It's not set in stone. I'm not hard headed. Yes, when I was younger, yeah, but show me something. If Daniel Jones comes out and he balls out, I'm gonna come on here and I'm gonna give him credit. Like there's no. I would be stupid to be like, well, what about this and that or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like, he has the opportunity to go out there and ball and prove everybody wrong. And so far, he's been doing that. And he proved me wrong. He made a liar of me yesterday. So that's why I'm on here saying that, yeah, everything that I said would happen didn't happen. They went out there, they balled out, and I can't even sit here either and be like, oh, it's just a run game. It's just the offensive line. Like, yes, the Colts do have a good run game. Yes, they do have a good offensive line. Daniel Jones put up numbers, 288 and 2 touchdowns. That's good quarterbacking. We can say whatever we want to. That's good quarterbacking. When you go out there, you hit your passes, almost 300 yards, that's good quarterbacking. Putting up a bunch of points, that's good quarterbacking. That's not game managing either. 288, that's not game managing. That's going out there, that's quarterbacking. That's what you want your quarterback to do. Go out there and ball. That's great, great, great quarterbacking. So I give him credit. And I'm not here to say, man, it's just Jonathan Taylor, the run game. Because that was a pretty, like, it seemed like Jonathan Taylor had more yards, but when you look at it, 16 carries for 97 yards. He's had way more yards than that. But I think it just seemed like that because the big chunks. But no, you got to give Daniel Jones deserves credit. He deserves a lot of credit. Almost 300 yards. Went out there, did everything they had to do, converted on 3rd down, converted on 4th down. Man, yeah, come on. So I'm not a guy who's gonna sit here and hate, and I'm not a guy who's going to just stay married to my opinion or like just because I said it. No, if you go out there and you prove me wrong, I'll come out here and say you made a liar on me. So Hey, it is what it is. Um, well, now I'm down 300 bucks. He down 300 bucks. Jalen Hurts is the only quarterback in here to win a rematch and against a quarterback he lost to previously. Yeah, exactly. So he's put him up there. You put him up there in the top five. I don't. I am not. I love Justin Herbert. I think he's talented. I think he, from the physical standpoint, is just as talented as a Josh Allen, especially arm wise and making these great highlight plays and all this stuff. But Jalen Hurts wins ball games, and he has no control on what they do. The signings that they do. He has no control on how well the organization is ran and all that. And Herbert has no control on how bad the Chargers organization is ran. But when you get on the field, he wins. He puts wins together. They win in the playoffs. They do it on the ground. He does it through the air. You have to give him credit. This is what he does. He's unflappable. He's never down. You don't ever see him yelling or doing any other stuff. He's a guy. He controls that offense. He's the leader of that team, and you got to put him up there. There's no other way to go about it. I'm not concerned about how it looks. Style points mean nothing to me. He wins. At the end of the day, when people are Googling these quarterbacks and Googling and YouTubing their stats and all this stuff, wins. A lot of wins are going to be attached to Jalen Hurts' name in 20 years. Yes, Herbert makes a lot of throws and all this stuff, and I wish he had more wins, but those wins are going to be attached to Hurts' name. The Super Bowl, all of that's going to be attached to him. So he's in my top five. Definitely in my top five. Let's see. Alec Pierce deserves credit for. I don't know that you didn't finish that, but he does deserve credit. He's been good, and he was actually good in college too. Uh, that Cincinnati, he was on that Cincinnati team with Desmond Ritter and Sauce Gardner. That's that team that made it to the college football playoff. I remember that. Yeah, no, he was good back then. He's an underrated receiver. He's like a taller, bigger version of like Lad McConkey, I think. Because he's fast. He can get down the field. He can get behind guys. He's very good. He was productive in college too, so no surprise there. Mint needs to give the green dot to someone else. Pretty coincidental that since Henley disappeared, defense has been yeah. I mean, but I don't. Henley's been out on the field. He's out on the field. He's play. If he's hurt, if he's injured, if he's sick, then he needs to sit out because we're gonna judge you on how you play when you're on the field. If you really feel like you can go and all that, then you have to hold up the standard. You don't get a pass because you're sick or whatever. So if he's not feeling well, if there's something wrong with him, then he needs to go and sit down. He needs to go sit down. He needs to, with the Dye in there, Troy Dye, Perryman, some of the other, but like get these other guys in there. If you're sick, then sit down. That's all I would say. I would like you to say mentor has been figured out, but do you? I don't. But what what is there to figure out though? Really, with mentor, there's not a whole lot to figure out. You have your zone coverage that you play. It's not a secret. He's been playing it since last year. The Chargers, they didn't have the toughest schedule last year outside of guys in our division, the Kansas Cities, the Denvers. We didn't have like a super tough schedule. I don't think there's really anything to figure out with Mentor. Teams are running the ball better. If you're able to run the ball on a zone defense like this, then you're gonna have to bring safeties down. You're gonna have to leave guys one-on-one back there, even if they're in zone coverage. They're still in one-on-one, right? So you're gonna have to do that. You're not able to help. You're not able to fly to the ball, and there's really nothing to figure out. Like you throw it where they're not. When a team plays 100% zone against you, you throw it to the void of the zone. That's it. There's always a void of a zone. Like the zone coverage is, it is what it is, right? There's always going to be a void, always. And if you design your offense, your game plan around throwing it to where the void is, then you're gonna do what Daniel Jones did yesterday. They threw it to where the void was, had a big game. So I don't know if it's the defense is very simplistic. It's not that hard. They're not running a whole bunch of like different schemes. They're not doing all this other like complicated shit that Staley was doing. Like they are playing zone defense on blitzes. They're gonna bring guys, but we don't blitz that much. So there's not that much to figure out. Honestly, a good quarterback, a good offensive coordinator, head coach, they're gonna see that and they're gonna exploit that. And they got exploited yesterday. So Ortiz made a trade for an edge in season, which I like. I like him as of now. Tries to get a diamond in the rough every week, and he's actively looks good for players. Believe in Harbaugh still, but I have doubts about Mentor and Roman. But that guy was not. He wasn't who he traded for. Oweh is not a good player. He is a guy he's had promise because of how big he is and because of how long his arms are and how he looks. But he's never been a production player. So when you go out and you trade for a guy that hasn't produced historically, you can't be surprised when he gets to LA and he doesn't produce. He's not producing right now. So if you're not getting sacks, if you're not getting pressures, if you're not doing any of that, if we are like waiting and we're so excited for Khalil Mack to come back because we finally got somebody to pressure the quarterback, that wasn't a good trade. Like to me, it just wasn't a good trade. It was unnecessary, really. And Gilman wasn't a great player, but Gilman was more productive on this defense than Oweh is. And I don't like trading and taking a swing for a guy like this is just not because he's disappeared. He had that one sack against the Dolphins and he's disappeared. He's completely disappeared. You don't see him getting to the quarterback. You don't see him running free and like he's just not that talented of a pass rusher. He has been it's just completely just been how he looks his entire career. He's gotten away with how he looks. He's just not that you can't rely on him to get to the quarterback. So I'm not a fan really of that trade. It's just unless he shows me something, unless he comes out and he explodes, then yeah. But I'm not a fan of that because he hasn't produced. Like he didn't produce in college, he didn't produce in the NFL, and right now he's not producing. So like this is the pattern that he is on. So Durbin and Haley aren't playing, making bad decisions. Yeah, they are missing a lot of tackles. We're missing Ford. He was chewing up all he is, and he's doing it for the Rams now. That's why their defensive line looks the way Ford and Verse on the same offensive line. Man, that the Rams got a legitimate chance to get to the Super Bowl this year. Philly, I think Philly can have a rough time with the Rams, especially if they're not able to secure home field advantage. If they end up playing that game at SoFi or whatever, like outside of their I know SoFi is known for having a lot of opposite teams fans, but in the elements, if the Rams are able to stay away from the elements and play that on turf, they got a legitimate chance against the Eagles for sure, for sure. Um, yeah, man, let Impuna go. What do you think about the Brandon Graham going back to the Philadelphia Eagles? Yeah, I just seen that. Um, yeah, they had was it Zadarius Smith retire abruptly. Um, yeah, I mean it's if he's still in shape and he's ready to go, then it's gonna be like just like old times, I think. So he'll be productive. I think we'll see. The Chiefs have Jerry Tillery. Connor Lew and Christian Miller need to be focused targets for this draft. Connor Lew, you see that he just tore his ACL, so which I don't think that wouldn't deter me from drafting him. Um, maybe his draft stock goes down, but when watching him at Auburn, watching him devour, literally get up to the second level, devour some of those linebackers, I don't, and he's young. I don't care. Let come and I would draft him in the first round. Do as much rehab as you need. But yeah, no, I would definitely, most definitely draft Connor Lew. He's looked every bit of the part. I haven't been able to watch as many Auburn games. They normally come on like in the middle of Saturday when I got stuff to do. I like to watch the games at the end of the night, beginning in the morning, but they normally come on in the middle. But yeah, no, I really, really, really like Lou, and it sucks that he got injured. When I seen him get injured, I was like, man, I hope this is not season ending, but it looks like it is. So I don't know how that's gonna, his draft stock and all that. He doesn't need to run a 40. He doesn't need to lift any weights or any of that stuff. He's an NFL player, definitely a first round talent. But if this pushes his draft stock down, I don't know. Maybe there's a trade to be made. Maybe Ortiz can make a trade, knowing that you're not going to have to draft him as high. Maybe we can draft him and get somebody else. But yeah, no, he's definitely the guy that I want in the first round. Center of the future, and he looks every bit of the part for sure, for sure. Barkley's not doing well in Philly. Yeah, well, that's what happens when you have whiny wide receivers like that. I don't know why they don't move on from AJ Brown. They have taken away from Barkley to give it to try to feed AJ Brown just to make him happy, and it's just I don't know. You can win Super Bowls without a receiver like that. You can draft a guy to come in and do what AJ Brown does. You can't draft to say another Saquon Barkley, and you can't take away from that offensive line. That offensive line is good. Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. Play action. Like them trying to capitulate to the wide receivers and all the complaining. It's just nah. I'm not a fan of that. Not a big fan of that at all. Do we make any more moves before the deadline? I don't think we do. Who's there really? Um, if there's somebody there for us to have, yeah, sure, go for it. But if there's nobody there, if they're gonna try to force a trade, it's just gonna make things worse, honestly. Um, Especially if you trade for a guy like the Oway trade, like nobody's really talking about it right now. But if let him go a couple of more weeks without producing anything, people are going to really start to notice this. They're gonna be posting stats all over Twitter. We just traded for this guy who's not doing anything for us. So I don't know, man. We're gonna have to. These decisions are very tough, but unless somebody comes up, unless there's a bona fide guy who can come out and help right away, which I think there will be, if the Browns lose a couple more games, some of their linemen might be up for trade. Some of them might be on the block. Miami probably going to want to have a fire sale. I don't know. There's going to be some trades to make, but it's just going to boil down. Do the Chargers want to give up fourth, fifth, sixth round picks? If they want to, and if they're willing to, then yes. But for me, I wouldn't, because this team is, we're not a trade away from being good. We're not a signing away from being good. Like we have real issues, and one trade for one player is not going to make these issues disappear. So unless we get hot, unless we start running the table and we 4 or 5 wins in a row, and then we're starting to look kind of contenderish, then yes. But if we're not looking contenderish, then there's no real reason to go out there and trade for anybody. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Still a lot to be determined. Damn, I've been on here for a while now. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here now. It's been good coming back. I gotta do these live streams more. Probably on Thursday. Probably on Thursday after the game. No matter what happens, I'll probably be back live streaming. But I'll be dropping some videos this week as well too. We gotta dive a little bit into the Colts loss. We got to dive into some things, and I want to cover some more stuff as well too. So I'm gonna get into that, but I'm gonna get out of here right now. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for the support. Thank you for those gifts. I think they are. So I gotta I gotta look up and see what that is. I'm an old man now, guys, so I don't know what that is. But yeah, do more lives. I'm tired of Matt Money, Smith Rose. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of that. I've been getting a lot of that on Twitter too. People want me to come on here and talk real. So I'm glad that you guys are appreciative of this. This is like the 4th or 5th time that I've seen this message in the past 24 hours. So I really appreciate it. And that's all I just want to come on here and be real. If we're doing well, I'm gonna come on here and I'm gonna give praise. If we're not, I'm gonna come on here and I'm gonna talk about what we need to improve. The Chargers don't pay me. They're not going to invite me to the building and have me shake hands with anybody and all this stuff. Like I have no incentive to not be real. I have no incentive to not say what I see and what you guys see as well too. I don't have a reason to come on here and give you guys a bunch of analytical slop and we're EPA per play, this blah 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 blah, all this stupid shit. Like I have no reason to do this. We all watch the game. We're all fans. We all see what's going on with our eyes. There's nothing that you can do. There's no projections you can give that's gonna make me feel like, okay, well, yeah, I'm overreacting. This is a good team and blah blah blah. No. Good teams don't lose games like this. Good teams don't get blown out at home. Good teams don't let teams run up and down the field like it's a track meet. it just doesn't happen. So I'm coming on here and I am being real, and you guys like it, and I appreciate you guys appreciating this real talk. It wasn't like this for a while. It wasn't like this. It was a little rougher when I got started on YouTube. People used to come and attack me because I was attacking Brandon Staley, and I couldn't understand it because I was like, who the hell is Brandon Staley? What has he done to not deserve criticism? And I would get it from a lot of people. Oh, Joe Lombardi, that's Vince Lombardi's great grandson and all this. People would tell me this type of stuff uh, as a reason for me to not they seen me critiquing these coaches, players as attacking them, but it's critiques. They're millionaires. If they can't handle it, then they're in the wrong business, correct? Right? So I get critiqued at work. I'm not a millionaire, so it is what it is. But yeah, I do appreciate you guys really, really, really rocking with me. Yeah, no, I will be back. These live streams are cool. I like how this is set up now. This is a vertical live stream. It wasn't always easy back then, but it's a lot easier now. So yeah, probably Thursday. Thursday I'll be back live after the game. Let's hope for the best, prepare for the worst. On a short week, the Brian Flores defense. Yeah, I'm not betting anybody, and I'm not coming on here, and I'm not I'm not making the mistake I did last week of pissing all the Colts fans off. I'm surprised more of them not in here, but if they are, like, they're gonna roast me all week. Don't argue with them. I said what I said, and I try to put my nuts on the table, and it didn't work out. So whatever criticism that they give me is fine. They can come in here, give it to me. I'll accept it. I'm not, you know, I don't have low self esteem, and not, people are not gonna. That I can't get bullied online through the phone. So just if you see it, whatever, it's fine. I really don't care. I deserve it. So yeah, but I will be back on Thursday after the game. Let's hope for the best, guys, and let's just see what happens. Let's see what happens the rest of the season. It's gonna be interesting. Whether we win or lose, it's gonna be interesting. So I'm looking forward to being back on here, like semi full time. So yeah, but thank you guys so much. I appreciate you, and yeah. Oh, Spook Z, take care, man. I was also the guys on Twitter that mentioned McDaniel much. Okay, yeah. I seen you. Yeah, I seen you on there. If I'm not following you, just mention me, like, hey, it's me, and I'll follow you back. I try to follow everybody back on there, so I'm not always the best with it, but yeah, if I follow you and I'm not following you, if you're following me and I'm not following you back, then just hit me up. I'll follow you back on there. So yeah, but thank you guys so much, Angie Ibarra. Thank you. Appreciate you guys, and until next time.